Hi there, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are going to take you through the processes and the activities for decking this 244.65 square meters decking for a 6 units of 2-bedroom flats. So in this video, we're going to take you through the construction activities, the quantity of material used, as well as the cost of the labor to bring this project to reality. And here we have actually 2 flats on each floor. Stay tuned as we take you through the process. So the decking work starts by establishing the beams and connecting all the beams, which serves a dual purpose. 1, to connect all the columns and help it transfer both the dead and live load of the building from the upper floor through the columns to the foundation. And 2, helps to ensure a level ground upon which the decking will sit. That's why by the end of the day, if it is done where you see that if you put a plumb level on the decking, it should just be plumb. It should be on the same level. So that is the work of the beam. So this implies at some point you may notice that the beam here may be 10 inches while you will have 9 or 8 inches this other side. If there is any difference in block laying level, it should be balanced by the beam. Now, in this project, we've carried all the beams, and then at this point, the laying of the mat, that's the bottom of the decking, is ongoing. And this is a process where the carpenters use the wood to get a flat and hard surface upon which the waterproof membrane will not be laid before the iron work starts. So during our decking work, we ensure that we carry on many activities at the same time. For instance, you can see the iron benders are working, bending the stirrup for the beams and cutting the necessary iron rods into the necessary sizes, while at the same time the carpenters are already completing their work, completed one side. That's why most of the times we like to do the work in sections, so that as one section is completed, the iron work can start there while the carpenters are also working at the other section. So this helps us to be able to meet with the project target. For instance, here this side has been completed and iron work is going on there as the matting, while the other section work was still ongoing with the carpenters and of course the waterproof membrane laying. So doing the decking of a building involves different skilled activities. The first skilled worker that comes to site during the decking is the carpenter. Now, these are apart from the engineers, of course. Now, the carpenter, first of all, forms the solid base upon which all other decking activities will take place. Now, after the carpenter is done, then you have the iron bender come to site, who will form the mat, which is the reinforcement upon which the concrete will be cast upon. Then after the iron bender is done with his work, then you have the electrician who will come and pipe putting in place all the electrical points, the lighting points, the socket points, the water heaters, and all the rest of them in the building. When the electrician is done, then the plumber will now come and put in the plumbing pipes for the drains, as well as the supply to different toilets and of course the kitchens in the building. Only when these are done will the casting start. And of course, there are other small manual labors like filling in the block holes before the concrete work is done, and other small activities that take place before the casting of the decking is done. So at this stage, these are the activities that are ongoing at the site right now. As you can see, both the electrician and the plumber are already doing their work. Of course, we lift the mat such that it will not break the pipes, the electrical pipes. And this is done with the aid of what we call concrete biscuits. So the concrete biscuits is what we use to lift up the mat and of course put the concrete biscuits so that no matter how you match on the iron work, it will not compress the electrical pipes. So that is the work that is ongoing here. So it is worthy of mention here that all these activities are done following the drawings, what is specified in the drawing. For instance, the carpenter will have to follow the architectural drawing for the spaces, the distribution of the spaces, and the relationship between the spaces, while the iron bender will follow the specifications as outlined in the structural drawing for the spacing of the iron rods, as well as the size of iron rods used for each particular thing. For instance, the beams in this particular project is 16 rods, while the mat is 12 rods. In some cases, there are some places that could be recommended that you use 12 rods for the beams, depending on the structural calculations. And there are some places that the structural engineer will recommend using a 10 rod as stirrup instead of 8 rod. So all these things are actually made reference to while the work is going on, to ensure that everything is done to specifications. Additionally, the plumbing work also follows the mechanical drawing to ensure that things are positioned at the right places, while the electrical drawing, the electrician also follows the electrical drawing and its specifications to ensure that everything is done according to the specified drawing. So this is to say that no two projects are exactly the same. For instance, even if the drawings are exactly the same, the soil texture of the site may not be the same. So that may mean that the recommendations of the structural engineer or the electrical engineer or whoever may not be exactly the same. So it is worthy of mention here that when you are running a project, you should be careful not to just assume that because these projects use this other one would be exactly this. Unless after the testing, it is found that the situations in those two projects are exactly the same. But in most cases, no two projects are exactly the same because circumstances may make one to somehow differ in one or two ways.
Plumbing for the kitchen of the first flat. The visitors' toilets plumbing work for the second flats.
So, in most of our projects, where the situations permit, we normally cast the steps days before so that we will cast the decking through the steps. And this helps us to kind of save a little bit of cost, as well as ensure that we maximize the use of material. So here we've already done the casting of the stairs, and this one is yet to be completed, and the idea is such that we will cast the decking through the stairs. So, few days after the casting of the stairs was completed and all other associated works with the decking had been completed and inspected, the casting of the decking began. Now, this casting of the decking marks the end of this milestone called Decking 1 in this project. By the time this milestone was completed, it was observed that the following materials were used: 500 pieces of board, that's the 1 by 12 by 12. 2 by 3 by 12 was 250. The bamboo was 200 over length. Then the 2 inches, the 3 inches nails used were 4 bags. The 16 mm rods were 65 lengths. The 12 mm rods was 320 lengths. The 8 mm rods were 50 lengths. The binding wire used was 3 rolls. The cement used to cast this decking was 170 bags. The granite that was used are 3 trips of 20 tons. And that's the complete 20 tons. Now the sand we used here, the 7 tons tipper, was 8 trips. Then the electrical and plumbing piping work was also done. So, the total cost of the materials used to cast this decking in November 2024 was 12,840,000 naira. Remember, total cost of materials used. On the other hand, the total cost of the labor for this particular milestone, that is the decking 1 of this project, was this includes the cost of the carpentry work, the cost of the iron bending work, the cost of the electrical work, the cost of the plumbing work, the cost of the casting, and other associated manual labor work to bring this decking to this stage was 1,700,000 naira. And this brings the total for this milestone, that is the decking 1 of this project, to 14,540,000 naira. Thank you for being with us this far. and see you in our next one.